Okay, thanks, Chad, and appreciate everybody being here. Just to finalize the season, we just finished our semester, and I actually want to start with this. I was really proud of this. This was a challenging year. Obviously on the field, off the field, but we finished this semester well over a 3 point as a team, and I think the most impressive part of that is that our academic performance after this semester put us at a 3.005 GPA overall for our entire football team, and that's over 5,106 credits. And I've been coaching for a long time. I hate saying how long I've been coaching, but for almost 3 decades, and I've never been a part of a football team that had an overall GPA of over a 3 point, except for my first semester here. So it's the second time, and really, really proud of that, of these group of kids to be able to have that kind of academic accomplishment and to do it as a team. And when you're talking about 5,000 credit hours, that's a pretty good sample size of how your commitment to academic performance. So really proud of our kids that way. This was really a really good year for us. We were really proud of so much that happened this year, being 7-2. And I think our football team grew tremendously in every phase. Offensively, I couldn't be more proud of our offensive line. I think that was really the key to our offense this season, was the development of the line, just the consistency that they played at week in and week out, giving us ability to run and throw the football, protecting our quarterback. I just think that was really instrumental in our success offensively. Our backs played well. The emergence of Cole Turner at tight end, the emergence of our young receivers, and obviously Romeo was outstanding. But I think the emergence of kids like Torrey Horton, and Melquan Stovall, Jamal Bell, some of those young guys really did an excellent job, along with Justin Lockhart. And so I just think that's a young group that's just going to continue to improve and get better. Defensively, I thought our defensive staff did a tremendous job putting in a new system in the type of year that we had. We didn't get spring practice. They didn't get a chance to know their players. They really didn't get a chance to establish a real foundation with their system before we started playing games. And so I really felt like, our defense did a fabulous job, playing with consistency, not allowing big plays, and just really teaching, the system that they've tried to put into place. We have a very good defensive line. That's a real strength of our program. Both our lines, I thought, were really played productively this year. And I really felt like, we saw a really great play at linebacker and DBs at times, and I think we could be even better in those levels of our defense. We got great performances on special teams from our punter, Julian Diaz, his first year being our punter. He was outstanding. And then Talton, we feel like, is as good as there is in our league. And so we got excellent specialists. Our return men are really as good as I think we have in our league as well. And so we want to continue to really press those guys. I think the biggest thing with this season is that I think our team really has to understand the difference between being really good and being great. And it's such a fine line. And it really is a decision that a team has to make, a coaching staff has to make, that they really are going to have the expectations to be really unique and to be special. And that's something that we've been pushing for in this program. It's an expectation. It's a level of accountability personally, but it's also an accountability that you ask for with your fellow coaches and your teammates. And that's something that has to be experienced. That's something that has to grow within the program. And it certainly is the challenge that we have. We were very, very close to having a championship season. And we have to find more in everything that we do to put us in position to be on the right side of that. And that goes from the very first day of winter training all the way through the summer and throughout the season. It's a level of commitment that we've got to find. And I just believe we have so much more in us as a program. I think we're just scratching the surface of what we could be. And that's our charge, starting up here in the next couple of weeks when we start winter training. Our goal was to play our best football, and I'm really proud of how we perform in the bowl game. We have 10 keys to victory, and we dominated. We won 9 of the 10, and it was by far our best complete team performance of the season. And it was great to finish that way in a bowl game, and gives great momentum going into the off season. And to add another bowl victory to Nevada's great tradition is always something that we look forward to. And so that was great to be able to do that. And now, we're turning our attention towards 2021. And, this is an unusual year. The NCAA came out because of the COVID season and the way things were adjusted, and gave us an opportunity to bring seniors back for another year. And so I've had a lot of amazing conversations with our seniors. This is a very, very special group to us. And I had some really sobering conversations with them. I really think that a team can never start where it finished off. So, here in a couple of weeks, we're going to start from scratch. We're going to be out in Mackey at 5:30 in the morning, running in the snow. We'll be weight training with Coach Simmons. And it's really a 12-month commitment. It's 8 weeks of winter training. It's 5 weeks of spring practice. It's another 8 weeks of summer training, a training camp, and then a 12-game schedule, and hopefully a championship and a great bowl game. So I wanted to make sure that these seniors were committed to that, and all the hard work that we're going to have to go to. And I'm going to be extremely demanding of everybody. So I was so excited when I started having conversations with these kids, because so many programs around the country have a hard time keeping their players, to be honest. Kids want to leave. Kids want to go to the NFL. Kids want to move on. And we don't have that problem here. We just don't. We've got 11 seniors that are going to return for the 2021 season. And I'm really proud to announce we're going to have 4 defensive linemen that are going to return. And I can't even tell you how difficult it is to have mature physical linemen in your program. And to have Sam Hammond, Zach Mahana, Cam Toomer, and Tristan Nichols all returning from this defensive line, which we felt was really outstanding, it's so exciting and so encouraging for our program. Along with those 4 D linemen, Lawson Hall, who was a senior captain at linebackers, returning, and then Burdell Robbins at corner. And so we're really excited that the heart of our defense is returning, and we're hoping to add to them and improve that group even more. Talking about the linemen, I'm really excited. We got two senior defensive linemen that are returning. Our starting center, Tyler Orsini, who I thought was outstanding this year, and then Jermaine Ledbetter, who was a senior captain this past year. Both of them were outstanding players, gave us great play in that front. And so we're really excited to have both of those guys back. Along with Tyler and Jermaine, Reagan Roberson, who is really a tremendous in our sub packages, starting fullback for us, edge blocker for us, a great special teams player. Reagan's coming back gives us that physical element, especially in short yardage that we need so much. Elijah Cooks will be back with his injury. And, we all know how outstanding Elijah is when he's healthy. And then Julian Diaz, a really talented punter who was really outstanding this past year. So those 11 guys, really major contributors, many of them starters, as well as captains. 3 captains are back for us. And just to be able to have those kids back in our program and so excited. They all feel like we have some unfinished business. And I just couldn't be more excited just talking to those kids and their attitude and the way they feel about this university and our program. So really excited to have those kids back. We're going to add a couple of mid-year transfers to this group. And we really felt like if we could add just a little playmaking ability, a little pop to the defensive personnel that we had. And we were able to address, hopefully 3 levels of our defense. First of all, Miles Hayes is a free safety from William and Mary, and 6'3", 190, really heady player, excellent, rangy, excellent run stopper. I actually have personal history with his family. I played with his uncle at Iowa, and then his dad and I are very close. But Miles comes from a football family. His uncle, Jonathan Hayes, was a great tight end at Iowa. His dad played in the NFL. And his cousin, Jackson Hayes, was a first-round draft pick from Texas. Really athletic family, really good player. We're very excited to have Miles here. And then Bentley Sanders is a corner, a nickel, and a great return man from the South Florida program. He's a Tampa kid. He was an all-conference return man 2018. But he's a cover guy. He's a guy that can line up and play bump and run man-to-man coverage. He'll be an excellent return man for us as well, and just a playmaker. At every position on our team, we've just tried to add playmakers, whether they're receivers, whether they're defensive players, and so we're going to continue to do that. Still like to add a pass rusher. And we've got 2 more scholarships that we're continuing to recruit. We're very active right now in that phase of our recruiting, trying to add to this roster and improve it. I'm really looking forward some key dates to think about for this season. We're going to have our spring game on Saturday, May the 1st. God willing, if we can have fans, we'll have fans there. We'll also have our grit run that day if they will allow us to do that. We're going to do our women's clinic Saturday, August 7th. That'll be this fall. Our first home game is September 11th, Saturday, September 11th. I'm really, really looking forward to getting with Doug and President Sandoval and talking about our game day atmosphere. Hopefully we'll have fans here in the fall, and we just want to make Mackey one of the greatest places in America to watch football. And I think we really need to look at how we involve our students. I think we really need to look at how we increase the atmosphere for our fans. I think we have incredible fans here. I think our everybody's really anxious to get back in Mackey and see some games in live. But I think we just want to do everything we can to make that experience the very best for our fans. And I think we got a very entertaining team. I think we got a lot of really special players that are maturing in front of all of our eyes, and should be awfully fun group to watch next year. I was really proud of Carson. Carson had an amazing year. When you look at his body of work and what he accomplished, you have to compare him to some of the very best players in the country. And when you look at most of those guys are graduating or moving on or going to the NFL draft, that really puts him a step higher in what people think of some of the very top players coming back for next year. So like him, the expectations will be higher. His offseason training and everything will need to improve and look at his weaknesses. But we're very excited that he's coming back to lead our program again, and along with Romeo and Cole and some of our really, really special players. So with that, would like to answer any questions you guys might have.
Thank you, Coach. We'll go ahead and kind of go in an orderly fashion and let you guys moderate yourselves and continue on with the question part.
Coach, just as a whole and overall, what are you most proud of this group?
Oh, I'm just really proud of their attitude. I think, this team really did everything we asked them to do, and that was difficult. If you guys, everybody, it doesn't take much to look back over the last few months. I mean, this was a really challenging 8 to 10 months. And, there was so much going on in the summer. When we started getting our kids back, you think about all the protests that were going on and with the COVID protocols, it was just the kids were really just they just didn't really trust the things that they were hearing from, I guess, administration and from a lot of the teams. And so it was very difficult to get a group of people and get them all on the same page. And so I was really proud of how we came together, really proud of how they were unselfish in what they tried to accomplish together. And then I really think the bowl game was awesome. Our kids really gave it up for each other, and it was really great to see. So this has been a special year because of all the things we had to go through, and just really proud of everybody involved.
Coach, I have kind of a nuts and bolts questions for you. With 11 guys coming back, are you allowed an expanded roster? Are you allowed certain one-year exemptions from the NCAA? Could you walk us through how that's going to work?
Yeah, so it's a great question because, probably the number one thing that I do as a head coach is manage the roster. And so, I mean, there is not a day where I don't think about the very last guy on our roster and how we can improve our team. And so it's a very, very unusual year, dude, because what the NCAA has said is that there's a senior exemption. So we can expand and go over our 85 with the seniors coming back. And so, we talked to all of our seniors and really talked to them about, what was best for them. And certainly I'm selfish as a coach. I'd love to have all of them back. But, a lot of our kids are really far along academically. Many of them have graduated already. We've got guys that are finishing their master's degrees this semester. So some of those people have really looked a little bit further down the line. They've got jobs already. And a couple of our guys, were really honest with me, and they just said, Coach, I really want to be honest. I've got this opportunity to work. I got this job set up already. I'm finishing my master's, and I think the best thing for me is to move on. But to answer your question, Duke, is yes. So our roster is expanded, and that's going to look different for different teams. I mean, some teams have no intentions of bringing their seniors back. I've talked to several coaches in our league, and some teams are really anxious to get rid of their seniors. And we're just not that way. we've been building, here and adding to this roster, and we knew we were going to have a good football team this year, and it was just a matter of how well we could play. But to be able to have this group come back for another year, I told Doug before the season, I said, if they're going to let us bring this group back, we got to bring as many of these kids back as we possibly can, because they have the attitude we want. They have the commitment that we want. And, it's just a special opportunity to bring a group like this back.
Sure, there's a financial element going over the scholarship limit too. I mean, what were those discussions like with Doug, trying to balance those two things and bring back the best team possible?
Yeah, I mean, that is part of it. And right now in this COVID era where everybody's cutting back and you have to find ways to be financially responsible. That was a consideration. And that was one of the things when the NCAA made the announcement, they don't really talk about all the different factors that go into it. And obviously as coaches and administrators, we understand those a little bit differently than the average student does. But I really wanted our kids to have that opportunity, and Doug was great and talking through that, and we came to some common ground on it, and I think it's going to work out fine. There's always a little bit of attrition every year as well, but I'm happy. We're going to probably be over the 85 number. I don't know. We'll probably be 7 or 8 over, which is significant. I don't know if every school is going to do that. I don't know. Maybe some schools that really like their roster will be, but I think there'll probably be others that won't be. And so, but I just think it's a really kind of a unique opportunity to bring a team back, and especially a quality team that has really great character, and get a chance to do it all over again.
I know you talked about kind of growing up going to, Wisconsin games and how enjoyable that was, that atmosphere. What do you think needs to happen to get Nevada into a position where it's not maybe like that, because that might be unrealistic, but to, like, everybody wants to go to a game on a Saturday and that's just the thing to do in town? How long does it take to build a culture like that within a community?
No, I think it's a number of things. First of all, I think you got to have an entertaining team and product that people really enjoy watching, and that's one of the things it was really unfortunate that last year we couldn't have had fans to see this team. I mean, this was a really entertaining team to watch, and you had one of the best quarterbacks on the West Coast, really, and one of the best receivers in football. And, and you saw a bunch of guys growing up and competing at a high level. Thought this would be a great year. We had a great home schedule this year. And so I thought it would have been really, really entertaining year for our fans, but I really think the atmosphere has got to be inviting. I mean, we gotta open our arms to our community and bring everybody back, and allow them to have fun at a game and allow them to socialize. And I think that's really important. And we all need to look at that, and we need to talk about how we can do that better. And I'm excited about that. I'm really encouraged. I think it's an important thing for our community. I grew up in a town where, most of the people, a lot of the people that went to the football game went to the football game to see their friends, and you had the diehards that wanted to watch every snap of the game. But I mean, a lot of the half of the fans probably wanted to go because they knew that their friends and different family members were at the game, and that's where everybody socialized. And I think we got an incredible opportunity to make Mackey that place. And I know it's been that way in the past, and I don't see why it can't be that way again. And I know there's a lot of people that are excited to see it improve and get better that way. So, and this will be a great year for it. I mean, we'll have a very good team. I think we'll have a team that people will that will connect with. And, I think this would be a great year, especially after the COVID year, to get everybody back out and watching some football live. I think will be awesome.
Is there like a position or two on the roster that you think you guys have to improve the most to take that next step? I mean, I felt like it was offensive line coming into this season and they did that. Are there specific areas where you just feel like you're not quite championship caliber right now?
I would like us to get more pressure on the quarterback. I think if you watch the NFL games from this weekend, the thing that just jumps out to me is just how at critical times of the game, the pass rush gets to the quarterback. I mean, it's one of the most glaring things that stands out when you watch professional football and playoff games. And I think we have the capability of being more of a pressure team. I would like us to play more tight coverage and improving playmaker here or there, adding a corner to our secondary, I think helps us do that more. Anymore, you got to play with 3 corners on the field. With all the spread teams, like anybody that plays against us, we're going to find your weak link. I mean, because we're going to put, you got 2 good corners, great, but you don't have anybody on Cole Turner. You don't have anybody inside our slot. So we're going to find the weak link. And so I just think you have to play with 3 corners. And I would love to see us play tight man coverage. And I just think we're a playmaker away at each level of our defense to really give us that pop and that disruption that we need to play championship defense. And I think we're on the right track. I think our kids play with a great foundation. I don't think we give up many big plays. And so much of pass rush, if you really watch those games yesterday, it's not necessarily a guy beating a guy and sacking the quarterback. A lot of it is a team pass rush where you keep a guy in the pocket and finally a guy breaks loose and makes a sack. And we're fortunate. We got Don Peterson in the middle of our defense, and for people to double team him, it leaves our ends one-on-one, and we need a little bit more quality pass edge rusher. And so I think that would really change us. And then just, one of the reasons we got Miles Hayes is we just feel like he's a real experienced player with length at safety. And I just think we need a little bit more field sense, heady safety play, and he can give us some of that. We've got some excellent young corners that I think are just, they need some maturity, they need some seasoning, but they have the athletic ability to run and cover, and we want to pressure people more. And the people that are playing the best defense are playing man coverage and they're pressuring the quarterback, and so that's what we want to do.
Coach, I have a time machine question for you. If you could travel back, let's say July 1st, as an example. Honestly, I'm curious, what did you think the odds were, for instance, of getting 9 games in, playing all your scheduled games, and reaching a bowl game and not losing a ton of guys to COVID? What would you have put that at? 60-40, 70-30?
Yeah, that's a great question. I just, I'll never forget. We were at Dick Treychok's funeral as a team, and we kind of got the news that they were going to shut everything down. And if you had asked me that day, I would have said 0 chance. I did not think we were going to get a chance to play. And I was really, when we had our meetings, I was really fighting to give our seniors an opportunity to play, because I just thought it would be a travesty with this group of seniors, with everything that they did for our program, for them to get a chance, not to get a chance to play this fall. And I just don't think people really can really understand the amount of sacrifice that everybody puts in just to play one season of football. It's, in many ways, it's a lifetime of sacrifice. So that's a great question. I think we got as much out of this season as we possibly could, and we were very, very close to advancing to the championship game and getting an opportunity to play for that. And so, we pushed really hard as a team when we had those, that month and a half when we were just practicing. I just kept telling them that we're practicing for something. We're practicing for something. And we got a lot out of those practices. And I think that's why we played so well so early in the year, because we pushed so hard in those practices. When everybody was a little bit uncertain and maybe they were thinking we weren't going to play, we always believed that we would play. And so, but in the back of my mind, I wasn't that confident, to be honest with you. But I don't think I ever told our kids that. I kept hanging that carrot out there for them to keep working. And I think that had a lot to do with why we started so fast, especially offensively, because we worked. Now we were having double practices and we really piled the reps on, and the kids had a great attitude about it. So, we learned a little bit about ourselves too. I think it'll benefit us in the future.
You guys kind of step into like the role of Mountain West preseason favorite to some degree. Do you have a conversation with your team about that, and maybe people having more of a target on you guys heading into next season?
Oh yeah. Yeah. It's a different mindset, Chris. And I think it's somewhat easy when you're an underdog, because the expectations are not there. And it really comes from being mature. And, one of the things, Jay Sean Sykes is our new football ops guy, and he came from San Diego State. And, he said that, San Diego State usually has a red letter game, and it's Fresno State every year. But he said, we're the red letter game now for San Diego State. And that's different mindset. We've beaten them 3 years in a row. We've beaten Fresno 2 years in a row. And I think it shows the growth of our program. But I was at Oklahoma for 7 seasons, and everybody had us circled. Every year when we played, every team had us circled, and there's a different mindset you have to have, because you have to expect to play well every week. You have to find ways to win when you're not at your very best, and you have to have accountability with your teammates. And I think that's the biggest thing that's hard for kids today. You talk about the difference between kids now and the past. And, I heard a comment about social media, about how kids get criticized so much now because of social media when they're in high school, that they just want to be accepted. And so our kids are a little bit different in that regard. They just don't want to step on each other's toes. But to really be good, you have to do that some. You have to challenge each other. You have to have high expectations for each other. And it's really rare air. And if you want to be different, you have to be different in many ways. And so that's a growth. It's a mindset that you have to go through. And I think our kids kind of saw that this year. I mean, we played very well for a good part of the season, and we had a couple of hiccups for a couple quarters, and just really it made the difference in having a really great season. And but that's what separates the really good teams from the special teams and the championship teams. And so that's something that we'll go back and be committed to. I just believe we have so much more in us. I think to a man, to a coach, we could be better. And we have so much more potential in us. And that comes from daily sacrifice. And it's really that simple. And so that's the challenge. It won't be one that everybody accepts, to be honest with you, but that's the challenge, and it's going to start here real soon. And there's no shortcuts. Like we can't fast forward to September and start playing games. We got 8 weeks of winter training. We got 5 weeks of spring practice. We got 8 weeks of summer training, and every part of it's important. And so we'll raise those expectations, and we're going back to work with Simmons, and we'll start finding a different leadership for this team. I think even though we have our captains back, I think everybody goes back in the hopper, and you got to earn your spurs again. And that's just the way it is. And not everybody always wants to hear that, but that's just the way it is. So, it's a kind of a long answer to your question, but there's a difference. It's a fine line between being, just decent, above average, and being great. And so we're gonna stretch our potential and see how good we can be.